Compost versus leaf mold, the shocking raised bed test results. If you've been following SoilSage Chronicles, you already know I'm obsessed with experimenting in the garden to uncover what actually works. This season, I decided to tackle one of the age-old debates in the gardening world, compost versus leaf mold. Both are organic matter champions, both promise to improve your soil, but when it comes to raised beds, where every inch counts, which one really delivers? I didn't just want theory. I wanted to test it out, get my hands dirty, and see the results firsthand. And let me tell you, what I discovered changed how I'll build soil in my raised beds going forward. Compost and leaf mold, same family, different jobs. Before diving into the test, let's clear the air about what compost and leaf mold really are. They might look similar in a bucket, but they work differently once they hit your soil. Compost is the gardener's gold, made by breaking down a mix of kitchen scraps, garden waste, manure, and other organic materials. It's nutrient-rich, teeming with beneficial microbes, and feeds your plants directly like a balanced meal. Leaf mold, on the other hand, is made purely from decomposed leaves. It doesn't pack the same nutrient punch as compost, but it's a champion of soil structure. Think of it like a sponge. It holds moisture, improves aeration, and creates a thriving environment for roots and soil life. So here's the question I set out to answer. In a raised bed where plants are relying entirely on what I build into the soil, is it better to load up with compost, with leaf mold, or with a mix of both? The raised bed experiment. To keep things fair, I prepped 3 identical raised beds in early spring. Same size, same sunlight, same irrigation schedule. So for bed 1, I went heavy on compost, about 40% of the soil mix actually. Bed 2 was heavy on leaf mold, again, about 40% of the mix. And then, bed 3 was a straight 50-50 blend of compost and leaf mold. I planted the same crops in each bed, tomatoes, peppers, lettuces, and beans, so I could really compare how each soil amendment affected both heavy feeders and lighter feeders. What I saw week by week in the compost-heavy bed was, honestly, pretty striking. Right from the start, the compost bed just exploded with growth. Lettuce leaves were bigger, beans sprouted faster, and the tomatoes turned dark green early on. Compost clearly provided an immediate nutrient boost and, well, the plants were definitely grateful for it. But by mid-season I noticed something else. The bed dried out much faster than the others. The compost improved fertility, but, its water-holding capacity wasn't as strong. On hot days I had to water this bed more frequently to keep things from wilting. The leaf mold bed told a different story. Early on, the plants lagged behind the compost bed, smaller leaves, slower growth. That wasn't surprising since leaf mold doesn't deliver nutrients in the same way compost does. But as the season progressed, this bed became the easiest to manage. The soil stayed consistently moist, even during those hot spells. The roots had room to stretch out, and by mid-season, the plants began to catch up. By the end of the season, while not as lush as the compost bed, the harvests were healthier than I expected, especially the tomatoes, which seemed to love the moisture-retentive environment. Now here's where things got interesting. The blended bed delivered the best of both worlds. Plants started strong thanks to the compost, but as summer heated up, the leaf mold kept the soil from drying out. By the end of the season, this bed outperformed the others, not just in yield but in overall soil health. When I pulled up the crops, the soil structure was crumbly, alive with earthworms, and smelled like a forest floor. After running this experiment, a few things became clear. Compost shines for fertility. If you want fast growth and nutrient-hungry crops like tomatoes, compost will give them that kickstart. Leaf mold is a soil builder. It won't feed your plants much directly, but it creates a long-term, resilient soil system that holds moisture and fosters microbes. Together, they're unbeatable. In raised beds, the combination outperforms either amendment alone. Compost fuels the plants, while leaf mold sustains the soil environment. It's a bit like feeding your garden a balanced diet instead of just one food group. If you're setting up or maybe just refreshing a raised bed, Here's what I'd recommend based on this test. First, use compost as your primary fertilizer. Aim for about 25 to 30% of your soil mix, enough to provide nutrients without drying things out too quickly. Next, incorporate leaf mold as a structural booster. Around 20 to 25% leaf mold really makes a big difference in moisture retention and soil tilth. Don't stress if you only have one. If compost is all you can get, just add mulch to help with moisture. And if leaf mold is what you have, supplement with organic fertilizers to feed your plants. Oh, and refresh annually. Raised beds are closed systems, so adding a new layer of compost or leaf mold each season will keep them thriving. What I love most about leaf mold is honestly how it builds soil for the future. Compost gives results this year, but leaf mold lays the foundation for the next 5. When combined, you're not just growing vegetables, you're creating a living, breathing soil ecosystem that gets better every season. And isn't that really the dream? Raised beds that don't just pump out one good harvest but improve year after year, becoming more resilient, more fertile, and less work to maintain. That's the power of understanding not just what to add to your soil, but why. So compost or leaf mold? My test showed that if you have to choose one for raised beds, compost edges out slightly for immediate results. But if you're playing the long game, the combination of compost and leaf mold wins hands down. Together, they create soil that's fertile, moisture-holding, and alive. This experiment has changed how I'll garden moving forward, and I'd really encourage you to try your own version, especially if you're serious about turning your raised beds into thriving, low-maintenance growing machines. If this deep dive helped you, just imagine what else we'll uncover here at SoilSage Chronicles. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more real-world garden experiments, and share this with a fellow gardener who's torn between compost and leaf mold. Together we'll keep building better soil one raised bed at a time.